we are going to learn about Standard 9, Subject Sanskrit and the 5th chapter by the name Subhashit Vaibhava. Subhashit Vaibhava, the translation of the title is Glory of Good Saying. Now, let me see the introduction part of the lesson. In Sanskrit literature, the longest poetic work is known as Mahakavya and the smallest poetic work is known as Muktaka. Just as a single pearl is invaluable, so too are these small muktakas. Here, in the very first line, they want to say us about the poems, that whatever long poems are there in Sanskrit literature, it is known as Mahakavya, and small poems are known as muktakas. So, the longest poetic work is known as Mahakavya and the smallest poetic work is known as muktakas. And further they say that muktakas are invaluable, just like a single pearl. As we know that pearl is invaluable thing, it's a small, but then also it is invaluable. Likewise, muktakas are also small, it is of 2 or 4 lines, but then also it is invaluable. These muktakas are sayings or epigrams. This well-known and melodious form of Sanskrit literature has the distinctive ability to serve in its 4 lines the precious thing or precious teachings of life in the most aesthetic manner. Further, they want to say us that this muktakas is only 2 or 4 lines. It is of only 2 lines or 4 lines, but it is giving the precious teaching of life in the most aesthetic manner. From these epigrams, we get the moral of ideal life and goodness. So, from this type of epigrams, we are getting moral and ideal life and goodness about the life. Such epigrams have been collected in this lesson. So, here they are telling us that such epigrams is taken in this lesson, and the number of epigrams are 8. Totally 8 epigrams are taken in this lesson, and it is collected in this lesson. In these epigrams chosen for this lesson, you will notice words with a one type of case ending. So whatever epigrams is chosen in this particular lesson, in that words it is chosen that type of epigrams that in that epigrams the case endings is similar. And further there says that this case ending will help you in learning the Sanskrit language. On the other hand, these epigrams will also provide you with inspiration to develop the values in them. Now, further they says us that these epigrams will also provide you the inspiration to develop the values in them. As you know that we are learning values, moral from this type of epigrams. So, one of the epigram is there in which you are going to learn about the value of life. Further they say that an inspiration to develop the values in life. The immortality of fame in this mortal world. So this world is immortal and we people are immortal. So we are going to learn the immortality of fame in this mortal world. Greed as the basic cause of all sins. In this next epigram, they are going to teach about the greed. That as we know that greed is a very bad thing. If we are greedy, then we are facing many things in our life, and it is also one of the cause of all the sins. Next, the ability to recognize friends and one's kin. In the next epigram, we are going to learn about how to find your real friend or your enemies. So, how to recognize, how to find your friends or your one's kin. Next, the characteristics of a good and bad people, etc. In one of the epigram, we are going to learn about the characteristic of a good people or the bad people. This will help you to make your life bright and virtuous. So, these all things will help you to make your life bright and virtuous. Here our introduction part is over. Now let me move further for the first epigram, for the first words. माधुर्य मक्षर व्यक्ति पदच्छेदस्तु सुस्वरः धैर्यं लय समर्थं च सेदते पाठका गुणाः. पाठका गुणाः means qualities of a reader. Now here in the very first epigram they are telling us that what are the qualities of a reader or what should be the qualities of a reader. So first of all they are telling us that madhurya means sweetness of sweetness. Madhurya means sweetness. And aksharam vyaktiha means clear voice or pronunciation. Further, pada chedastu. Here we can see the sandhi pada chedah plus tu. Pada chedastu, pada chedah plus tu means isolation of words or division of stanzas. And next, suswara. Suswara means beautiful voice. Dhairya means courage or boldness. And laya samartha means to keep oneself in a beat, in a rhythm. Cha and shadete means here sandhi is that shatah plus ete, this 6 pathaka gunaha. Pathaka means reader and gunaha means qualities. So these are the 6 qualities of a good reader. Which are they? So first of all is sweetness. Second one is clear pronunciation or clear voice. Third one is isolation of words. Whenever we are reading at that time we should isolate the words. We cannot read it in a one time. Then suswara. A reader should have a beautiful voice. Otherwise, if he or she is having a harsh voice, then we will not like to listen to them. So suswara is also one of the qualities. Next, dhairyam. Dhairyam means courage. If without courage, if without boldness you are reading, then people will not enjoy it, and you will also have somewhere guilt in yourself that you are not able to read properly. And laya samartha. Laya samartha means to keep oneself in a beat, rhythm. These are the 6 qualities of a reader. Now let me see the words. Madhurya means sweetness. Akshara vyaktiha. Akshara vyaktiha means clear pronunciation. Clear pronunciation of sound. Then further, padachhedah. It means division of stanza, or we can say isolation of words. Next, suswara. Suswara means beautiful voice. Laya samartha means sense of rhythm. Sense of rhythm. Then chal means and shadete. So here sum is there shata plus ete. This 6. Then patakaha. Pataka means reader. And gunaha means quality. Now let me see the translation of the words. Here, sweetness of tone. First of all, we will write sweetness of tone. Then clear pronunciation. Clear pronunciation. Then of letters. Clear pronunciation of letters. Then isolation of words. And beautiful voice. Courage and sense of rhythm. And sense of rhythm. These are the 6 qualities of a good reader. Now, see, in this particular verse, they want to say us that sweetness of tone, clear pronunciation of letters, isolation of words, beautiful voice, courage, and sense of rhythm. These are the 6 qualities of a good reader. If you want to be a good reader, then you must have the 6 qualities in yourself. First of all, sweetness of tone. Your tone should be sweet. And whenever you are doing reading work, at that time, all the word which is you are pronouncing, that word should be clear. That letter should be clear, pronounced. Then isolation of word. You can't read the things in one time only. You have to divide the words. You have to isolate the words from one to another. Then only it will look good. Then beautiful voice. It must be there. Otherwise, if you are not having a beautiful voice and if you are having a harsh voice, then no one will ready to listen to you, or no one will get that type of interest in your reading. Courage, that should be, and sense of rhythm. Whatever you are doing reading, that all things should be in a rhythm. That you have to keep it in a beat. So these are the 6 qualities of a good reader. Now students, you may note down these things in your notebook. Second verse, chalam chitam chalam vitam chale jeevita yauvane chala chalamidam sarvam kirti revadi jeevati. particular words, they are talking about the immortality of a fame. As we know that this world is mortal and we people are also mortal. But our fame, if we are famous, then our fame will be immortal. It will be long lasting. After our death also, people will remember our work due to our fame. Now, chalam. Here the word chalam means fecal or transitory. Chitam. Chitam means mind. Chalam vitam. Vitam means wealth. Chale jivita yovan. Now chale. Chale means is going on. Jivit. Jivit means here we are talking about life, and yovan, youth. Youth is also like that. It comes and goes. So it is not stable. It is transitory. It is moving from one to another. Chalachalam midam sarvam. Chalachalam midam. Chalachalam plus idam. Sarvam means all. These all things are unstable, unsteady. Kirti reva hi jivati. Kirti means whatever fame you are getting. Jivati, that fame will live alive. Right? So let me see the words with its meaning. Chalam means transitory. And chitam. Chitam means mind. Chalam vitam. Chalam means fecal. And vitam. Vitam means money or wealth. Chale jivita yovane. Chale jivita yovane means your youth and your life. Jivit means life and yovan. Yovan means your youth. Life and youth. Is also fecal. Chala janmidam. Here we can see the sandhi chalachalam plus idam. This all is unsteady. And further they say that sarvam all, kirti means fame. Here sandhi is there, kirti plus eva. So only the fame. He jivati is alive. Jivati means he is alive. Now let me see the translation of this verse. Here wealth is transitory. Then mind is equal. Further, life and youth. Our life and our youth are transitory. Life and youth are transitory. Further they then whatever fame you are getting after your death also, that will remain as it is. It will be immortal. If you passed away, then also people will remember you. So wealth is transitory. So whatever money you are earning, that money is not stable. Today you are having, might be possible that due to some problems you will not have that same money. So wealth is transitory. Mind is fickle. Your thoughts are also not in your hands. Whatever you are thinking right now might be possible after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes you will think something different from that. So your mind is also not stable. It is also moving. Your thoughts are also moving. So it is fickle. Your life and youth are transitory. So whatever life you are living, right? It is not stable that you are, if you are a kid, then you will remain kid up to your death. Right? It is not like that. It is going on. It is moving. It is not stable. It is unstable thing. So life and youth, both things are transitory. It is unsteady. All this is stable and unstable. All these things, whatever we have seen, that our health, our mind, our life and youth, these all things are unsteady. Right? It is stable and unstable. Only the reputation or fame, whatever you are getting in your life, it will remain as it is, alive. So here, our words number second is over. You may note down these words in your notebook. Now, let us see the third word. Makshikaha vrana michanti. Dhanamichanti parthivaha. Nijaha kalahamichanti. And santimichanti sadhava. Now, Makshika. Makshika means they are talking about house flea. Makshika vrana michanti. Vrana means wound. Ichanti. Two words are combined. Varna means plus ichanti means desire, wound. Dhanam ichanti parthiva. Dhanam means wealth and ichanti. Ichanti means desire. Parthiva. The word parthiva means king. So kings desire wealth. Whoever the kings are there, they are only and only having desire to have more and more wealth. Nijaha. Nijaha means those who are wicked people. They desire, ichanti. They desire, they wish kalaha. Kalaha means quarrel, or we can say that the things which is not good. Shanti vichanti sadhava. Shanti means peace, ichanti wish or desire. By whom? By the saints. Whoever saint is there, whoever good peoples are there, they only and only they desire peace. Now let me write down the words with its meaning. Makshikaha means house plant. Varnam means wound. And ichanti means wish or desire. Then dhana. Dhana means wealth. Money. Ichanti already we have mentioned. Parthivaha means king. And nijaha means weak. Kalaha michanti. Kalaha means quarrel. Quarrel. Kalaha. Ichanti. And Santi Michanti. Santi means peace. Ichanti means wish. Sadhavana. Sadhavana means saint. Saint, or we can also use the word those who are good people. Now let me write down the translation of this verse. House place. House price. Result. Warm. And kings. Desire wealth. Kings desire wealth. The wicked. The wicked people desire quarrel. Quarrel or conflict. Quarrel or conflict. Good people desire peace. Now, in this particular verse, they want to say us that houseplaces always desire warmth, kings always desire wealth, more and more money, and those who are weak people, they always are in a search of a quarrel or in a conflict. If easy things are there, then also they want to make it difficult or complicated, and afterwards they used to quarrel or conflict with others. And those who are good people like the saints, they always desire peace. Now you may note down these words in your notebook. Now let us see the fourth verse. Gavo gandhen pashyanti vaideha pashyanti brahmanaha chareha pashyanti rajanas chakshuvya mitare jana. Gavo. Gavo means here they are talking about cows. Gandhena pashyanti. Gandh means sense of smelling. Pashyanti means they used to see. So cows are understanding the things by the smelling. Vaideha pashyanti brahmanaha. Brahmanaha means Brahmins. Vaideha means through Vedas, through the knowledge of Vedas, pashyanti. Brahmins are seeing the things according to their knowledge of Vedas, according to their understandings of Vedas. Chareha pashyanti. Chareha means they are talking about thief, right, or spy. Chareha pashyanti rajana. Rajan is seen through spy or we can say thief. Chakshubhyam mitre janaha. Chakshubhyam. Here we can see sandhi in this word rajanaha. Chakshubhyam plus itare. Rajanaha plus chakshubhyam plus itare means raja with their two eyes, and itare means common janaha, people, and the common people are seen with their own two eyes. Now let us see the words with its meaning. पश्यन्ति means see. वैदेह ब्राह्मणाः पश्यन्ति ब्राह्मणाः चारैः चारैः पश्यन्ति चारैः means पश्यन्ति means see. राजानः means king. चक्षुभ्यां with their own two eyes. Iptere iptere means other or common. Janaah means equal. Now let us see the translation of this particular word. Here cow sees or understand. Sees or understand the things by smell. Brahmins see by their knowledge of Vedas. Kings see through their spies. Common people see with their eyes. Now here in this particular word they want to say us that cows see the things or understands the things by its smelling. With the sense of smelling, cows understand the things, that which thing is there. Brahmins, whenever Brahmins are seeing at that time, they are seeing through their knowledge of Vedas. Kings see through their spies. As we know that king is the head of all the country, right? Or we can say the state. He cannot keep watch on everyone, so and for that he keeps spy who keeps about the he keeps information about the state as well as the people. So kings cannot reach everywhere, but through spies he can reach everywhere and he can see everything. So kings see through spies, their spies. And common people are seen with their own two eyes. Here words number 4 is over. You may note down these words and its meaning translation in your notebook. Next remaining 4 words is we are going to see in the next video of the same chapter, Subhashit Vaibhava.